So the way this one works is it's a game. It's a game I learned in improv, where how it usually works is that 4 or 5 improvisers sit on the stage, and then everyone else in the audience calls out what their occupations are, and then they have to pretend to be an expert in the thing that their occupation is. We'll head over there. So you guys, what I need from you guys is to call out some ideas of what I am an expert in. Ones we have done before are elephants and time travel and something else. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. So, what do you guys okay, so we got some of our options are crisis intervention specialist, slug reproductive systems, slugs. So yeah, I think did somebody say slug expert? That was me, slug expert. All right. I think I like the idea of being a slug expert. Some of you guys may be aware that outside of the game, in reality, I did attend for college the one school in the world whose mascot is in fact a slug. So I do have a special place in my heart for slugs. Let me know. I will answer. Based on osmosis, I'm very knowledgeable on slugs. So fire away. I can answer any of your questions. Did they have a bronze statue of the mascot, a metal slug? Well, actually, they did not have a bronze statue of the mascot. They had a bronze statue of seals because UC Santa Cruz is actually known for its marine bio program. This is an actual answer. Because somebody who was like a donor to the school really wanted the mascot to be seals. But during the time when I was attending the school, there were instances even where people vandalized the seal statues by painting them yellow to look like slugs because the students were resentful of the attempt to dethrone the glorious banana slug from being the mascot. So yes, they did have a no, they didn't have a statue, but they did have a seal statue. Biggest slug you have seen, size and color? Well, banana slugs are really cool. They actually sometimes they look like ripe bananas, but most of the time they look like overripe bananas. And yeah, so they're generally yellow with like brownish, blackish spots. And like the biggest one I've seen was probably like this big, like, which is like, it's like 8 inches long. Like they get really big. I heard if you eat a slug slime, it will make it survive. Eat a slug, its slime will make it survive in your stomach. Is it true? Slugs are pretty serious creatures. They protect themselves with their slime, as you said. Their slime can go through a lot. Some students, even when I was in school there, they would kiss the slugs to get some of that like dangerous toxic poison on them, but it's really bad for the slugs and really bad for the people. What did the slug say to the snail who was in a hurry? You better slow down. I get it. Save the seals. Where are the most deadly slugs located? That's a great question. And definitely you have to watch out for those space slugs. When you get outside of the atmosphere of the Earth, you think the slugs around here in the US and in places like Australia where everything can kill you, you think those slugs are bad? Wait till you see those space slugs. The ones that live, really, really, really far away. Are there mutant slugs that die when in contact with sugar instead of salt? Probably in space, Deadpool. I I'm not a space slug expert. You know, I specialize in Earth slugs, but yeah, I think but based on probability, there is an alternate reality where sugar is what hurts slugs instead of salt. I agree. Wildlife in Australia cheats. Everything in Australia is built different. Not the space slugs. Yeah, biggest space slugs known to man. Well, see, the thing is, bird's eye view. Space slugs are not constrained by, you know, the atmosphere or anything like that. They can be, I mean, for all we know, the edges of space is made up entirely of slugs. Is Mountain Dew just Earth's version of Slurm? What is Slurm, MCP Pants? What's the likelihood of space slug invasion? Yeah, well, you know, it's never zero. It's never zero. It's, you know, the good news, slugs are pretty slow. And especially when they don't have much to stick onto, if they're just floating through the air, they're not really able to, you know, they move only by their little sticky, like, foot or whatever. And there's nothing for them to stick onto when they're in space. So they're just floating. So they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Don't worry. They're taking their time. Do slugs get insulted when you call them names? I know your ex does when you call her a slug. I mean, I don't think slugs can hear, but again, they're out there in space mutating and stuff. We don't know. They might be fully sentient. After what 4 artists would Teenage Mutant Space Slugs be named? Oh, well, you know, Deadpool. That's a great question. So it wouldn't be like, you know, Italian artists. It would have to be like probably would be like not named after people who do graffiti that are like really talented, but like teenagers who just like spray paint their initials on walls. I think that's who the space slugs would be named after. It would be like something like shitty like that. Slurm is a highly addicting beverage made from slug excretions. The Futurama crew know a lot about it. Oh, sorry, MCP fans. I haven't seen Futurama in a minute, and you know, which in the future I'll have to stay up with that to make sure I have full slug knowledge at all times as a slug expert. But thank you for refreshing my memory, MCP Pants. For an Earth slug specialist, you seem to know a lot about space slugs. Yeah, well, you know, space is the next frontier, and it's really, you know, sure, there's a lot to know about Earth slugs, but there's even more to know about space slugs. I mean, have you ever heard anyone talk about space slugs before? I don't think so. And this is truly cutting edge research that we're doing here at the Space Slug Institute, the Slug Institute of Space. Does size matter if you're a slug? Well, it matters in the sense of the speed at which it can travel. Bigger slugs can travel more effectively, I suppose. Bansky, Zephyr, Dondi, and Jean-Michael Vasquette, Cowabunga. Exactly. So what is important? What's the sexy slug? What you have to elaborate that on more. Elaborate on that more, Bird's Eye View. What's the sexy slug? Do you mean what type of slug is like the sexiest? Friend's dad is the sea slug expert at a well-known science museum in SF. Do you ever work with him? So MCP Pants, there's a well-known feud between like normal slug experts like myself and sea slug experts. You know, sea slugs aren't like really slugs. They're like a little bit different, and I think as a land slug expert, they shouldn't even be in the same category. Our two camps don't get along. Slugs seem built for space vacuum and chill. Yeah, exactly. I think that's why we should worry about them going up there. So Which Marvel hero villain would be a slug if they were turned into animals or bugs? Oh, that's a great question, and I think what's his name? Blob. I think Blob could be a slug. Maybe there's probably some other good options too, but that was the first one I thought of. Don't discredit sea slugs. Those are some fighting words. The slob. Would horse game be good if they were slugs instead? Yes, I think that would still be good if they were slugs. I think the games would go a lot more slowly, but I'm a proponent of slugs being in all types of media. Were space slugs created by Elon trying to get to Mars? That information is confidential. Laugh to say saying we don't know for sure where the space slugs came from, but you know that the information that we do know is top secret, so I'm not at liberty to disclose. During mating, some species of slugs perform a mating dance before exchanging sperm with their partner. This ritual can last for hours and is a fascinating display of their complex mating behaviors. Can you show us this mating dance? So it's you know, it's so erotic. I don't think that it is, you know, appropriate to show on a public broadcasting network such as this one. But yeah, the slugs do some wild things when they're mating. And usually I think it can best be, you know, best be explained. You know, I could show you with my hands. They just, you know, they do a little slug dance. And that's, you know, more power to them. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a little slug dancing. Are all rich people space slugs in disguise? Yeah, there have been some theories. There have been some theories that there has already been a space slug infiltration of the human population. But my view as a slug expert and slug appreciator is that, you know, would that be such a bad thing? Slugs are amazing creatures. Tell us about your college slug boyfriend. What had happened to him? Well, you know, it's just I'm not at liberty to talk about that bird's eye view. It's just it's his story to tell too. I can't just put that out there on blast. Kind of related, where do baby slugs come from? Yeah, so slugs, they reproduce asexually, and I believe, sorry, I'm trying to give the right answer again. It doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, so one of them, when two slugs want to make a baby, one of them grows a dick, and then, I'm sorry, pardon my French, and then they have slug intercourse, and then later the babies come. Avert your eyes, children. Warning, next time you use hand censor those hand motions. Yeah. He's salty. Shares first true shrug, love left her speechless. Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about it. When should a slug start contributing to their 401k? Well, slugs don't live as long as humans, so I don't, you know, unfortunately, for now, until there's further advances in technology. But, you know, basically, since slugs don't live that long, they should start contributing right away. Don't they lay eggs? Slugs can do whatever they want, Justo. You need a dick expert to explain to me what that is. You know, it's, yeah. Slugs can do whatever they want. That's what I basically came here to tell you all. You know, people write off slugs. They think they're limited. They have no arms and legs. They can't talk. Their eyes are up here. You know, people think that's a limitation, but I think that's how they can soar to any height that they want, like their eyeballs. For mating, slugs lay clusters of eggs in moist soil under rocks, ensuring a protected environment for the offspring to develop. No, it doesn't sound right. Apple me this. What subjects are taboo in slug society? Well, you know, the main one that's taboo is, you know, they don't like talking about politics. It's just they're a lot more they're kind of like hippies, slugs. It's honestly that's why I fell in love with my former slug partner. But you know, again, I don't want to get into my personal life. But yeah. Many slug species are hermaphrodites, meaning they have both male and female reproductive organs. This allows them to mate with any mature individual they encounter. If you had both male and female parts, how would you mate with another slug? Well, yeah, see, that's what I was saying, Apple made this. You have to, you know, you have to make that decision, and it's up to each slug couple to decide what decision of what roles each of them want to take. There's endless possibilities and combinations, you know? And that's what's so beautiful about slug romance. There's just, again, the possibilities are endless. Intersex, not hermaphrodites. There can be some of both, right? Oh, is now intersex? Oh yeah. Well, fair enough. Bird's eye view. If you were a slug, what would be the first thing you'd do? Yeah, I'd probably, you know, just leave my little snail trail, my little slug trail along the ground, and go look at things with my little eyeballs and just check stuff out. Touch my slug body. How would you touch it, bird's eye view? You don't have any hands. Are you secretly the first space slug invader in disguise? Well, wouldn't you like to know? I think we're gonna just have to end this interview here, but thank you everybody for coming to my slug symposium. This has been enlightening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my other videos too.